Hello fellow trophy hunters and welcome to this week's edition of the PSN update. It's the 29th of August. I apologise that this video is being uploaded on Bank Holiday Monday rather than Sunday like I usually do. I was a bit tied up yesterday, but you know, this year is flying by. We're going to be in 2017 before we know it at this rate. And there's loads of big releases coming up over the next few months. This week is quite a busy week for releases though, although there aren't many AAA titles. You know, there's a lot to cover, so we are going to dive straight in because I actually recorded this video once, and obviously I don't really prepare what I'm going to say. I just have a look through all the games before I start recording, do some research, and then share that information with you guys. But the video ended up being almost 45 minutes long, so I decided to kind of redo it, and that's why we're going to dive straight in and start looking through these. Now, before we look through this particular list, because a lot of games have released this week, some of last week's ones, or most of them actually, have been knocked off the bottom of the list. So things like Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, I have been playing a lot recently. I've got some sort of no kills and no alarms walkthrough guides up on my channel, and you'll see some other sort of bits and pieces, little trophy guides here and there as well. And because it's obviously been knocked off the bottom of the list by now, I did want to just discuss my thoughts on it so far. It's a great game. There's a lot of missable stuff in it if you're going for the trophies, but there's lots of nice guides out there. You do need to do sort of lots of side quests. Well, not lots of them really. There's about 12, I think, but they are, you know, relatively long-winded compared to some games. And in some cases, you need to do sort of specific things during those side quests. You need to find collectibles that are only collectible while you're on some quests. And there's sort of some missable story quest related trophies. Lots of things to collect that you have to do in a certain order at some points. You know, there's a lot of things you can miss, but it's not a super long game. Once you know how the game works and you're good at staying in stealth and you can just sort of speed run through the missions, you could technically go back and do a second playthrough if you needed for certain trophies in no time at all. And you do need to do a partial second playthrough at least to be able to get certain upgrade related trophies. You need to sort of level up a certain amount of times, that kind of thing, to be able to unlock different augmentations and stuff. But it's a really good game. I do thoroughly recommend it. It's not difficult really, although I've not completed it yet, so it might get harder. But it's not an easy platinum, but it's probably around a 4 or a 5, so it's very much doable for anyone. It's the kind of game that feels easier than it is because it's so much fun. You know, some games are really awful and you don't enjoy playing them, so they feel harder because you want to get them out of the way. But if you really love playing a game, then you commit yourself to it and it just makes it feel a bit easier because you're enjoying your time you spend with it. But anyway, there's one other thing I did want to mention. I had a comment on last week's video, someone pointing out Adventure Capitalist. In fact, the comment is here. Ghosty Players really enjoy these videos. You should have given Adventure Capitalist an honourable mention though. It doesn't have a platinum, but it's free and it can be 100%ed in a reasonable amount of time. Now this is Ghosty Plays, so I do wonder, maybe he's watching this video and you can let me know if you are Ghosty from the PlayStationTrophies.org forum, because someone called Ghosty has done the trophy guide and roadmap for this. Now it's only got a few trophies here, it's not got a platinum, so you're not going to level up much by playing it. But if money's an issue and you're looking for a new game to play, I don't know how good it is really. It might be a bit of a laugh. Some of these indie games are a lot of fun. It looks like something different, you know, quite unique. It takes 8 to 10 hours, which is quite a long time for a game that's only got 12 trophies. It gives you around about 300 trophy points, whereas a platinum will give you around about 1200. But yeah, if you haven't got any money to spend and you're looking for a new game to play, you want to get some new trophies for your account and a new 100% to add to it. It's only a 1 out of 10 in difficulty according to Ghosty, so worth a shout out, and I did promise him I'd mention it, so thank you for that, Ghosty. Now the first game from this list I want to talk about is Rockets, Rockets, Rockets. This is one that I mentioned in passing last week. There was no feedback on it, no one had played it yet. Obviously it wasn't released. I don't think it's released even now because one person's played it and I'm sort of guessing that maybe they had early access or something. But I did say last week that it looked, just based on the name alone, it looked like the kind of game that might end up being pretty easy. And so when I saw that one person was playing it and he had earned the platinum, I came and checked who that was. It was Pineapple Hero 88, so shout out to him. And he was actually very kind to respond when I reached out to him for some information on the game. I basically asked him how easy it was. He said it's super easy. I'm just reading his message here. He said the hardest trophy is Lucky. So Lucky, let's have a look at that one. I could search with it. Sorry, I could search for it with Control F, but got my hands full at the moment. Lucky beat Stanley in a duel without shooting or ramming. So that is a skill-based trophy. But he said you can change the gameplay setting to give AI handicap of 1 bubble and it kills itself. So it sounds like he's figured out a way to make it super easy, even the hardest trophy. So that won't mean anything to us at the moment because we haven't played the game. But if you do come around to playing it, because it did only take him, you might have noticed when I clicked on the 100% here, it took him less than 3 hours. So you know, this is one I think worth picking up. He said that there's a bit of a bug with the trophy that involves staying out of combat for 2 minutes. He said it took him about 10 minutes, but he just went AFK. So it doesn't look like it's difficult or really a particularly annoying bug. But if you don't get the trophy straight away, if you are playing this, then that would be why. It might be maybe you need to return to the main menu for the time to count or something, I'm not sure. But there you go, guys. Rockets, 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 which does in fact have, I think I mentioned this, it's got, no I didn't actually, it's got 2 versions, so it does stack. And I'm not sure which versions it is yet, so don't go running out and buying sort of the US version and the European version just yet, just in case it ends up being like the Asian version or the Japanese version that stacks. I don't think it will be. I think you'll probably be safe buying the American and the European versions. But if it's a super easy, super quick platinum that you can do in 2 or 3 hours, then why not buy both? You know, if you've got access to accounts from both regions. So that's our sort of our main easy platinum from this week, which is quite cool. I'm quite proud to be able to share that with you guys because there's no feedback on the PlayStationTrophies.org forum. No one really has any information apart from this one guy who very kindly responded. So on the very slight off chance that he ends up watching this video for some reason, thank you very much, Pineapple Hero. But let's scroll on because this video is going to be just as long as the last one I tried to record otherwise. Verdun looks quite cool. I'm not sure about, you know, the trophies or whatever. I haven't really looked through. It's probably quite grindy. It's an online shooter, so if you're bored of like Battlefield and Call of Duty and you're looking for something different, the trophy list isn't going to load, is it? I've been having trouble with PSN profiles today. All my other websites load really quickly, but there seems to be a problem with their server. We'll just leave that for now because the trophies, I haven't had a proper like in-depth look through them, but I think maybe if we open it in a new tab, by the time it's loaded, we can have a look in a minute. But yeah, it's kind of lower budget, very deliberate. You have to be very accurate because you've only got sort of single shot rifles and pistols and things like that because it's World War I based. But if you're after something different and you're an FPS fan, might be worth a look. Starhammer looks very kind of strategy heavy. Seraph looks kind of cool, like a 2D sort of platforming shooter. But you've got 2 weapons and both of them automatically lock on to the enemies that are nearby. So the skill doesn't come in aiming your weapons. The skill actually comes in your movement. You know, you're dodging and you're jumping around, you know, trying to avoid enemy fire basically. And it looks kind of cool. Looks like it might be a bit of fun. Trophy wise, again, nothing really to go on. A lot of games you can't really tell just from reading the trophy descriptions how difficult they're going to be. A bit like with racing games such as Assetto Corsa. You know, the game might say win every event, and it might be a case of all the events are, you know, ones that you can turn the difficulty down to the lowest setting and you can turn on assists and things like that. But other games, the events might be super hard. There might not be a difficulty setting. You might not be able to level up your car or sort of upgrade your car to be faster than the other ones. So when you read the trophy descriptions, it's very difficult to really tell on some games at least how difficult they're likely to be. This one though, Assetto Corsa in particular, I've read up on this a bit, you know, people's feedback on it. It sounds like the word that was used a lot in people's opinion was cheap, and a lot of people have kind of implied that it feels cheap. You know, it's like low quality. It's supposed to be like one of the biggest, you know, best racing games on PC, and it's finally come to PS4. But it seems like maybe the presentation isn't that high, the kind of production value, which I don't mind really. I'm not a big sort of advocate for graphics. I don't really care too much about graphics if the game is good. But the other thing people are disliking about it is the AI. They're saying that the AI is ridiculously difficult. They don't make any mistakes. They just do perfect laps. And so if you've got a car that's slower than theirs, you've got no hope, basically. You have to do an absolute perfect lap to be able to stand any kind of chance. And even then, you know, it's going to be difficult. So that makes the trophies very hard, because if you look down through, we've got a few miscellaneous trophies at the top, things like taking damage or not taking damage, and leveling up certain things. But if you get down to around here, yeah, all of the rest of the trophies from Novice Series down all relate to earning gold in all of the events and series, because there's a bunch for completing the series and then getting gold in every series here. Complete all the series with gold medals. So if you get this, you'll have automatically got all the ones above it, or up to a certain point, of course. And then you need to complete all the events with silvers and then golds. So basically, if you get gold on everything in the game, you're a good way to completing the trophies, and a lot of the other ones will come naturally along the way. But that's why the difficulty with the AI makes this a difficult platinum at the moment, because winning events is quite difficult. And it's very much a sim, you know, it's only going to appeal to people who are fans of real hardcore racing sims. It's not like Drive Club. It's even more hardcore than like Project Cars or whatever. So it's not going to appeal to everyone for sure. Let's have a look here. Verdun has loaded. As you can see, it looks like a lot of grinding trophies, things like 500 melee kills. In fact, this is crazy. Now, this kind of makes me laugh when people do this. Like, smaller companies will make a game, and it's a game that's similar to a lot of other games that are coming out at the same time, but they make trophies that are going to take ages to earn. So people are going to have to literally just play this for months, if not years, to be able to get all the trophies. And it's kind of, it's almost like, what are you thinking? You know, you've got Battlefield 1, you've got Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I know these games are ones that people are kind of getting sick of, and they're not, you know, people aren't particularly excited about Call of Duty, at least. Battlefield looks quite good. They're trying something new, or at least going back to the World War settings. But you've also got Titanfall this year. You've got updates to Destiny. You've got updates to Battlefront. So if when you're designing a game like this and you're thinking, right, how are we going to get people to want to play it? Who is it that comes out and says, oh, I know what we'll do? Is, even though we're coming out the same year as like 5 of the biggest first-person shooter, you know, online multiplayer franchises around, let's make it so that to get the platinum, you have to only play this for ages. You need 10,000 kills. This is an online game. This isn't like something where you're mowing down enemies in a campaign. This is online. That's like Resistance 2 level of time consuming. Do you remember Resistance 2? You had a trophy for getting 10,000 kills online, and it was just like killer. Like, no one even bothered trying to plat that game. Some people did, and if you're watching this and you did earn the platinum, then congratulations. You've got a lot of dedication. But back then I wasn't quite so big a trophy hunter, so I didn't really attempt it. But like, how are they expecting people to have this kind of time available? You've got so many games coming out this year, and you've got to get thousands and thousands of kills. There was one for getting 5,000 headshots, I think. I'm sure I saw one here. Yes, here we go. Make 5,000 headshots. So not only have you got to get 10,000 kills, you've got to get 5,000 headshots. Now, you're not going to be in a situation where every other kill is a headshot. So it's obviously going to be, like, let's say 1 out of 10 kills is a headshot. That means you're going to be getting 50,000 kills for this platinum. That's insane, and I'm sure there are hardcore players out there that this game is aimed towards, because it's very much like well, it's different to all the other first-person shooters. It's very deliberate. It's kind of like an old-school sort of PS2 shooter where, you know, you've only got the single-shot rifles and pistols and stuff, so you have to be very accurate and deliberate with your shots. But for sure, if you're looking for a long-winded game that's going to take you forever, but is going to be a super proud platinum to have. This is going to be ultra rare. Like, this is going to be so rare, it's unbelievable. Simply because of the year that it's coming out, the time it's being released. There's so much competition from the same genre and other genres. This year's release schedule is so jam-packed that games like that just aren't going to have many people wanting to commit that amount of time to them. Right, at this rate, this video is going to end up as long as the previous one that I made, so let's keep moving. Where did we get to? Oh yes, that's of course. So we got Attack on Titan. There's two versions of this. This is the American one, which is AOT Wings of Freedom. Or, no, wait, I think that's the European one. Anyway, the other one is called Attack on Titan. We'll get to it in a minute as you scroll up. But this one is kind of Japanese, typical, I think like hand-to-hand combat type Japanese game. I'm not going to show footage because it would just take forever, these videos, if I show gameplay footage of all the games that we discussed. But it does look like it's going to be a bit easier than people might expect it to be. People have given some feedback on it saying it's not too difficult. Some of the trophies require you to get S rank on all the missions, things like that. And there's a lot of grinding trophies, so it's going to be a relatively long-winded one by the look of it. We're not going to look through the list now, but it does look long-winded, but not too difficult, hopefully. And a lot of people are interested in it. I've had some people on the channel asking if I'm going to do trophy guides for it. I might do, depends what the game's like, and if I get around to playing it, if I have a chance to play it. I'm so busy at the moment, but yeah, it looks like definitely one worth checking out if you want to play something fun that's going to give you a nice amount of content to get through. It's going to keep you busy for a while, but isn't too difficult to platinum. Now, Space Hulk. All these kind of, franchise tie-ins, they always used to be very easy on PS3, and they often are now on PS4. We don't get quite as many of them because, like, the middle tier of developers has dropped out a bit. So now it's like indies or AAA pretty much. But occasionally you have one come along like this. We don't have any feedback on it yet, but we'll keep an eye on it because it might end up being nice and easy. Volume was relatively easy. It's available on PS4 and Vita already. This is the Asian version. The same trophies as far as I know, it's just a stacking Asian version. So if you've already played the game and you're a super hardcore trophy hunter and you have an Asian account like I do, then obviously you have the opportunity to go out and earn that. Again, it's nice, easy, quick platinum, just a bit buggy. Sometimes you can lose your progress. We've got Star Trek Online. Again, this is quite cool actually, the trophy set on this. Most of them are related to story arcs. So all of these here, look, completing certain story arcs all the way down, loads of them. So that's really cool. And then the rest is like leveling up, a load of leveling up ones. And then there's only a few left. So a bunch of like miscellaneous stuff, like exploring different locations, and finding lore. So this is obviously an MMO, so it's going to be long-winded. There's all these story arcs. That's going to be the longest step, I think, is just completing the game and doing all the different story arcs. But if you like your MMOs, it looks a little bit clunky, but it's been out on PC for a while, and it looks like it's probably going to be a lot of fun if you enjoy the Star Trek universe. Where are we? Yeah, so I'm actually going to keep an eye on that. I don't have much time for an MMO this year because there's so much coming out, but it looks nice and easy. It looks like the kind of MMO that you're going to be able to play in like a year's time or 5 years' time, as long as the servers are still up, because most of the trophies are related to sort of not offline stuff, but you know what I mean, like single player stuff that you don't need other people for. So, might be one to check out. I don't know if it's going to be free to play yet. I don't think it's been released yet, but if you're into that kind of thing, that's an option. NASCAR is, I did have a look through this earlier. It's got a lot of like finish races, win a certain number of races, speed points, a lot of trophies that kind of stack up like these, speed rating of 90, 95, 100. So if you get 100, you get all three basically. So there's a lot of trophies like that. Win at every track. A bunch of sort of miscellaneous like challenges and things like that, a few multiplayer trophies, but that looks like it might be fairly straightforward. I'm not a big fan of, what's it called, NASCAR games, because they tend to be a bit boring. But yeah, it might be another easy platinum. Not sure how long it would take. A couple hundred races at least you have to win, so it could be a bit of time. But let's keep going here. Last fight, don't really have any info on that. Looks kind of fun, like a party game that you can play multiplayer, couch co-op maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on it. But you know, it's like a top-down, running around, cartoon characters punching each other kind of thing. Although there is a campaign. But yeah, again, we'll come back to that when a few people played it. We've got some information to go on. Ride 2, the first ride wasn't too bad. It was a bit glitchy, but as long as you knew how to avoid the glitches, the game was relatively easy. And they're quite fun, you know. There's been a lot of motorbike games recently. It's like a genre that's really come to the fore. Now, Livelock is a game that looks very similar to Alien Nation. It's almost like they've ripped a load of the abilities out of Alien Nation and they've copied a lot of it. Although, you know, Alien Nation's not been out for more than a few months, so both these games would have been in development during the same kind of time. So I don't think, you know, there's any copying going on. Although back in June, it was meant to release, and then they came out and said that it was going to be delayed indefinitely. They didn't have a new release date for it. They wanted to improve the game. They didn't feel like it was ready yet. So who knows, you know, during that time, they might have actually been playing Alien Nation and thinking to themselves, how can we improve our game based on the positive things that Housemarque have done? I don't know, you know, that's just me. That's just like a conspiracy theory, I suppose. That's just me talking nonsense. But it's possible. Who knows? It does look quite easy, though. A lot of leveling trophies here. There's 3 classes. So basically, it's a top-down twin-stick shooter like Alien Nation. If you've not played Alien Nation, it's kind of basically the same as Dead Nation back on PS3. Top-down twin-stick shooter. This one looks very similar art style and everything. And even a lot of the abilities that you use look very similar to Alien Nation. Like, it's uncanny. It's almost like someone else has designed the game and they've taken the blueprint and they've built the same game. But that's not a bad thing necessarily. Alien Nation's a lot of fun, so hopefully this will be too. So you've got to level up all the characters to level 30, which is coincidentally exactly the same max level on Alien Nation as well. You've got to equip some pieces of gear. You've got to decrypt cards. Now, I don't know if they're ones that maybe drop from enemies or they're collectibles or whatever. Destroy 10,000 enemies. Now, this is reasonable. On that Verdun game, obviously 10,000 enemies in an online shooter is crazy. But in a game like this, where you're gunning down dozens at a time, it's a lot easier. Destroy 100 upgraded enemies. Complete the different acts, all the missions on hard. Destruction streak is obviously some kind of combo meter that you can keep going. And you've got to spend 15 minutes in survival, which doesn't sound like very long. Probably some kind of wave defense. So it's either going to be really hard or they're just being really lenient with the trophy. Then you've got a bunch of collectibles here. Collect all audio logs. And yeah, so this trophy is a combination of all the ones above it. Catalyst, Vanguard, Hex. Oh, okay, so are they related to the different classes? Are there... Yes, okay, so each class has got his own collectibles. That makes sense. Then carbon, I think we need to collect this carbon, which I believe is used to upgrade your weapons. I watched a bit of a developer diary on this. It looks quite cool, and this is one of the games I'm going to recommend this week, although I've not played it. Some co-op trophies, but nothing too bad, just like single missions that you have to complete with 3 players, so you do need a couple of other people to play with. So yeah, this looks like a very doable platinum. Not sure how hard the missions will be on hard, but obviously if you level up and you upgrade your weapons and all sorts like that, then you know, it should kind of ease the pressure a bit. Let's keep going though, in the interest of time. Resi 4 once again doesn't have a platinum like it didn't on PS3 either, so a lot of people probably going to be a bit bummed with that. Now this is interesting. The Witcher 3 obviously has got a load of DLC already, and the trophy set is way further down because the game's been out for a while, but there's 2 new stacking versions of the game, and this is all a bit strange because one's Game of the Year and one's Complete Edition. Now I'm guessing that one of the regions, you know, doesn't use the term Game of the Year, they use the term Complete Edition instead. I want to say that maybe Japan. I could check this on Google. I don't think it's so important that we know. The facts are that there's 2 versions that you can only assume are regional. So one would be from, you know, the most of the world would have one of them, and then one region would have renamed it and sort of given it a new stacking list of trophies. But either way, what it means is that there's now 3 versions of The Witcher 3 that you can play in Platinum and earn all the DLC trophies for. So if you love The Witcher 3 and it's a game that you know well and you can complete in a relatively short amount of time, I know some people can get through it quite quickly, then that will be great news for you. You get to go back in and play it again and earn the trophies all over again 3 times if you like. We've got rockets, rockets, rockets here once again. So that's obviously another stacking version, and once I find out which version stack, I will let you know. And this game's actually going to make it onto one of my top 10 easiest platinum lists. So keep your eye out for that, and I'll have a bit more information on it there. We don't really know anything about binaries. Batman's come to PS3, but once again, obviously we can't get the platinum until all of the episodes are released. And we've got the other version of Attack on Titan that we've already discussed. Bears Can't Drift is another game that's stacking because we had a version of that last week. Obviously a second version's come out, whichever region has given us the stacking list. And I can only assume that the 2 trophies that are still glitched and unobtainable on the other version are probably in exactly the same state on this version as well. So hopefully they fix that at some point so those people playing it can earn the platinum. And once they do, we'll be able to find out how difficult it is and maybe recommend it if it is a straightforward game to complete. But there you go, guys. So the ones I have focused on this week, we've got Rockets, 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 super easy and quick platinum for you guys. We have got, we looked at Assetto Corsa, which actually looks really hard, which was thoroughly expected, to be honest. It's a hardcore sim, but it looks harder than it should be due to the kind of broken AI from what I've read. Attack on Titan, 2 versions of that, looks a lot of fun. A lot of people are enjoying it, and it sounds like it's not too bad difficulty wise. You can now stack volume if you've got an Asian account. Star Trek might be fun. Live Lock is the other one, along with Rockets, Rockets, Rockets. I think that and Live Lock are probably the 2 games that I would maybe recommend. Obviously there's not enough to go on with Live Lock to say definitively that it's an easy quick platinum, but I think it's probably going to be, you know, it's not going to be a fast one, but it looks like it could well be fun and relatively easy and doable for anyone. So yeah, there you go. I think that's everything covered. So it's been quite a busy week this week, guys, and it's just going to get busier throughout the rest of the year. So I hope you guys are still enjoying this series, and I hope I'm able to kind of bring some new games to your attention that you maybe didn't know about already, or possibly you'd seen them and you just didn't have the time to do the research. So I thought, you know, why don't I do the research for you guys, and then I can bring these games to your attention and give you some suggestions for what to go for. So thank you very much for watching once again, guys. I hope I haven't gone on for too long. And obviously stay tuned to the channel. This week I'm putting out more guides for Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I'm doing at the moment some kind of walkthroughs showing you how to get through each mission without being spotted, without killing anyone, because there are stealth related trophies along those lines. So go and check them out, and in the meantime, thank you for watching. Like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all very soon.